You are now into Film Good.
I seen it. You're fond of me lobster.
Molly, you in danger, girl.
Your ass looks like about 150 pounds of chew bubble gum, Kyle. You know that? Say it, sir! I don't believe you people.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
Now answer my question. Were you rushing or were you dragging?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Film Code. My name is
What
Phoenix
you
Cloud,
gotta
and thank
say.
you guys so much for joining us once again. And it is me, myself, and I am joined by the great Zach Sneef. Zach, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. A good week, and just excited to talk about the first movie. Really,
You said the first movie of 2023?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, technically, this is still a 2022 release.
I
At
thought
least
it was
that's how.
2023.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's weird. Anyway, yeah, yeah. Technically, yes, the first 2023 release. At least I would say the first major release of 2023. We are talking about M3GAN. So, M3GAN is a story about a woman and a little girl. Her parents die in a car accident, and so her aunt is left in charge of her. However, her aunt is no good with children and has no idea how to talk to her niece. But she's a robotics engineer, and she makes a doll, an AI doll called M3GAN. And M3GAN becomes this little girl's companion. But of course, she isn't equipped with any parental controls, and she's well advanced. So naturally, you can only assume what comes next, which is M3GAN decides she's going to be in charge. And hilarity ensues, one should say.
Yeah. You could say hilarity for sure.
Yeah, so I was really anticipating this movie because I'd seen the trailer. I thought the look of M3GAN was delightfully creepy. And then you had one of the most viral moments ever, which is of M3GAN dancing right before she murders somebody. And it's the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my life. So I was like, okay, very excited to check this out. It also stars Allison Williams, whom I adore. Some may recognize her from Get Out fame. She this time she gets to play a victim, so like there's that range that we're hoping for, so we don't get another evil psychotic white girl, but she's she's great here playing this role. And also Violet McGraw, who's the young girl in this movie, who's excellent. She's a very talented actress. So
I just want to say real quick, I didn't realize until after I saw it that that M3GAN was played by two people.
yeah.
I thought that was super impressive. I thought that was really like I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I thought it would
Amy
be
Donald.
Yeah, Amy Donald. Amy Donald, I think, was her physical form or the voice, one of the which I can't remember. But like, yeah, they had
Davis was the voice.
Yeah, so yeah, it was you had one person doing the body movements, the other person doing the voice. They also had an animatronic doll as well. So like the way that they created M3GAN was really kind of cool, and like so cool that I'm like, let's do it again. Like right? Because I dug it. But yeah, Zach, what about you? What were your first impressions going into M3GAN?
Go ahead.
Go for it. Go for it.
So my first thoughts on M3GAN. I was really excited going in, and although this isn't going to win any awards or anything this year, I do think it is the start of a franchise that I'm super excited about. Like I
Oh
could see
yeah.
this being like, the next Child's Play or, series of horror movies that I think people really just want to go see to enjoy. So
I think I absolutely hope so. I mean, like the killer doll concept, obviously it was popularized with Chucky. And then we've had the Annabelle series, but like I just don't think that well has run dry yet. like I don't think it's run dry
right.
yet. And and M3GAN, just the look of M3GAN is so cool and so original. And and I just think the things that they do here is so funny. Of course, there's always the fear of the law of diminishing returns, right? Like everything here was very fresh, very original, very unique. There's a good chance in the next one they're gonna fall off and not exactly go the way they should, and that is my only concern. But like, just for like a one off, if it only happens to be a one off, this was fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to say like the marketing for this movie was great.
Oh yeah,
Like
brilliant.
I saw it everywhere leading
Mm.
up to the movie. And in New York City, I know that they did like I don't know if you saw this, Phoenix, but they had like a bunch of people dress up as M3GAN in New York City and do like her dance, like the robotic dance. Yeah,
Oh, that's
I thought
brilliant.
that was super cool. Yeah,
Well, I mean, like that's the great thing because I think this is a Blumhouse production. Like, these guys are geniuses. You know what I'm saying? They make these movies, these very original horror movies, for like less than $20 million, and then they spend what else they would have spent on the production on just a unique marketing campaign, and it ends up netting them like 10 times their budget. You know what I'm saying? It's like this is the model that everyone should be following. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, you have a unique concept, original concept. You spent, a decent amount of money on it. You didn't have to go like you didn't have to go 150 million, 200 million in your production, and you got a solid film out of it, and you got money left over to have an exciting, interesting, compelling marketing campaign. And it works. Like Smile was made for I think like $18 million, something like that. And it ended up making 220 some $1 million globally. And I'm like, that's off a sheer marketing campaign, a brilliant marketing campaign. The same is going to be the case for M3GAN. I think it's already at like 60 million right now. So it's like, what? And I'll be honest, I really want to go see it again because it was just fun. It was a really fun experience, a really fun movie. There's some moments I can't wait to talk about because they're just so hilarious. But like, yeah, like it's a brilliant concept. And this is not even like the first or second time they've done it. They The Invisible Man was Blumhouse. Like, I think they spent like 30, 20, 30 something on that, and it ended up making like 300 million worldwide. It's like that's crazy. So like, I don't know, man. I think people should really follow the Blumhouse model because it seems to be the most brilliant way of making money. Like,
I do have to add, like, when I hear people who don't go to every movie start talking about movies, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
this has some good marketing if they've been
yeah,
hearing about it.
yeah.
Like,
That's
because it's so hard now. Like, if I went to my friends and said the word Babylon, like I've done that. If I've talked
yeah,
about Babylon, they have no idea what I'm talking about, which
right.
is horrible because it's a phenomenal movie. But if I say M3GAN, they know instantly what I'm talking about, which is just crazy
I
because the
literally,
marketing is
yeah,
just so well done for these.
I literally just had that experience yesterday. I was like, the guy was like, "Yeah, I like movies." I was like, "Oh, sweet." I was like, "Did you see Babylon?" And he's like, what the heck is that? Like,
Yeah.
it was like, I was like, oh, well, I was like, well, have you heard about M3GAN? He's like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see that. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm like, but I mean, like, especially this year, a bunch of the awards player kind of movies have all done really poorly in theaters. I think I think maybe The Whale made the most money out of anything, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, a lot of them aren't doing well. And but M3GAN, it was just a simple, brilliant marketing campaign. And that's really it. That's all you really need is like, you know, just a decent marketing campaign. I don't know how you would have marketed Babylon to the masses, but like, you know, something like something would have helped. But it is what it is. But we still love Babylon. I love Babylon to pieces. Loved Fablemans, loved Tar. So,
Yeah.
different strokes for different folks, I guess. So let's go ahead and break the seal and talk spoilers for M3GAN.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Zach, kick us off. Your spoiler thoughts on M3GAN.
So, I wasn't. I would say I had a little bit higher expectations as far as quality, the way they made it sound.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the time I had there, like I had a lot of fun. So like it was definitely a fun movie. It's a movie I think that you can go and see with your friends and like have a good time. But I think that's where it about stops.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't winning awards. This isn't anything, crazy good. Like to the point where it should be in talks for anything. But I had a lot of fun. I think that the creepiness of M3GAN throughout the movie is just like a fun concept. And I enjoyed myself. And I really also liked a lot of the scenes in there and some of the things I'm trying to remember what she said, but there were some things in there she just said that were hilarious. Like she would just snap at any given moment. And you had no idea where it was coming from.
Yeah. They gave her so many good moments. Like I will point out the moment where I like literally bust out laughing in the theater was when they're doing the demonstration for the bosses, for the higher ups.
Oh yeah.
And M3GAN just randomly bursts into song. Bro, I was dying. Like I was like, what is happening right now? Oh my god.
She always said it's better when you make a musical.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. I was like, this movie is automatic 5 stars. Like, I was like, the second she burst in the song, I was like, that's the most hilarious thing I think I've ever seen.
I also loved how when she goes to live with the aunt, she's like, the daughter, or Katie, sorry, not the daughter, but like the niece.
Mm-hmm.
Katie, she goes to live with her aunt, and she's like, so do you have any toys? And she like picks up like the thing on her shelves, and she's like, oh no, that's a collectible. That's not a toy. And then the therapist comes in, and she's like, well, Aunt Gemma said those are collectibles, not toys. And she like breaks them out the box. No, you can play with them. It's fine. And she's like, well, that's not how you play with it, though.
Oh man, like I love that scene too, because it's like that's a perfect encapsulation of someone who really does not know what they're doing. Like in terms of taking care of a kid, it's like no, that's not what this is. Okay, you know what? Okay, fine. Like it's like so he has no idea what she's doing. And I think that's the good thing about this movie is, it could very well be dumb. You know what I'm saying? It could fall into like dumb territory, but it's also very well written. Like yes, it's not an awards caliber, like, you know, type of writing or anything like that, but I think for a horror movie, because horror movies are really hard to write, because you think it's just, hey, get some scares in there, hey, get some kills in there, and it's all good. It's like, no, you have to have characters that we are interested in and care about, and have a story like attached to this theme, and then, and you know, you build on those. And I thought that scene was brilliant exploration of someone who's like a fish out of water dealing with a new situation in their life. And I was like, that's an excellent way to show that, and to show how unprepared she is for this job, and why we need to get the humanoid robot in here.
Yeah, I also like the neighbor. I thought her
Mhm.
part was great.
She
The
was
dog that
hilarious.
kept coming over on the lawn.
Yeah,
I thought that was hilarious.
I love that.
And what happens to the dog with Megan? The fact, like, the dog just snaps on them. She's like pulling Megan through the fence,
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, and then next thing you know, the dog's buried in the ground. So
yeah. Like, I know this is wrong to say, but I kind of wish we got to see how the dog died. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
a little,
also but the thing is, I know they can't do that because it'd be too
right.
brutal.
It'd be way too brutal. It
I
would.
want the unrated version to come out of Megan.
Oh man.
Like, I just want it to be so graphic when the unrated version comes out. Like, I want to see this
Yeah.
tiny little doll just like snapping things necks.
Oh my god. Yeah, like that's the only thing. Like, I'm pretty sure that would have, like, if you were on Megan's side at any moment, that would have turned you off. Like, no, she killed the dog. Like, screw her. Like, so that's probably why they cut it out. But I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, yeah, she killed the dog, but yeah, like, you know, Megan's, you know, it's Megan. Like because you didn't see it, it makes it a little easier to take. But yeah, I kind of wish we had seen that. But that's just me being evil. Anyway, no, but
Yeah, I guess that would be my one complaint about this movie is the fact that it was PG-13.
was
Like,
it?
yeah, yeah, it's a PG-13 movie.
Oh wow, we have really lowered the standard for PG-13.
Yeah,
Wow, I thought for
that was
sure that was rated R.
yeah, I really wish they'd gone for rated R.
Wow.
I mean, I know that, you know, they want to make a horror movie where everyone can see it, but
Right.
a rated R version for the adults would be nice.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay. Wow. All right. I did not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm like, so much of it felt rated R, but like, no, it's PG-13. Like, wow, we really.
But you know what? It does make now that I think about it, right? They
Mhm.
said that the producer Jason Blum
Jason Blum. Yeah.
is it Jason Bloom? Sorry. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I said Jason Blum. Anyways,
Mm.
he did say like he wanted to have teenagers to go see the movie ultimately. So you know, thinking about it now though, it kind of makes sense, right? If you want to make as much money as you can, well, how do you do that? You lower the rating for people to see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that makes perfect sense, which is really a smart move on their part
Yeah. I get it. Yeah, absolutely. It is a
because
smart
they can
move.
always release a rated R version later if that's what they really want to do, you know?
Right. Right. And which I think they will, because it's just it's
I think
so
the people
good.
want it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so good, and it's so entertaining of a film. Like, and that to me was the uh thing that I appreciated most about this film, is like, yeah, it's a little ridiculous, yeah, it's a little goofy in concept, but it's so campy and so fun, and they just hit that tone so damn well. Like in terms of like it doesn't matter what bar you're aiming for, right? Doesn't matter if you're aiming for high art or you're aiming for entertaining and fun. If you hit that bar, you've knocked it out of the park, and that's all you really have to do, right? And I think they completely knocked it out of the park. I mean, this is one of those films where I'm like, I may not vote for it, to win anything in any awards, but it's also a movie I'm going to rewatch probably more than any other movie that I see. But like, just because of how much fun it is, and like, it's a easy conversation starter. It's a great little film that you can introduce to people maybe who missed the marketing campaign for it. I think it's a ton of fun. And from what I've heard, like, the theater crowds have been just having a ball with it. like having an absolute ball with it, which I can totally see why.
Yeah, no, I mean, why wouldn't you, right? I mean, this is, I think, one of the best movies that has been hyped up to come out.
Yes.
I think people were hyped up to see this.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's always good when it lives up to the hype, at least. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the only thing I wish they would have changed as far as marketing goes is I wish the trailer showed a little less.
Yeah. I wish it showed a little less. Well, I would say I wish it showed a little less of the dance, but the dance is part of the reason why it's doing so well. So I guess I wish there was more of it. Like, I kind of wish there was more of the dancing in this movie, because that would have been hilarious. If we got like at least one or two more, like oh yeah, I'm a vibe, and then I'm gonna mess you up, kind of things. That would have been hilarious.
I also love when M3GAN killed the bully. I forget the kid's name. I was dying laughing, and then Katie's like, "Is he in heaven?" And then she's like, "People like him don't go to heaven."
Like, M3GAN was cold. Like, she was cold blooded. Like,
oh, it was so funny.
It was so like, and like, what's interesting about that scene too is I'm like this kid, he was not a good kid, right? He was kind of a snob, kind of a jerk, you know what I'm saying? A very aggressive, violent kid. And I don't think he knew why, right? You know what I'm saying? There was obviously some trauma there, and he was lashing out at other people. And, you sit up there, you go, oh, like, obviously it's wrong to kill kids, but at the same time, you're like, this kid is trash. And then the way that M3GAN does it, like, I love the running through the woods. The way that she like charged at him like a wolf or something, like, it's such like just great characterization for her, and it made it work. And then like the way she ripped off his ear, like, I was like, oh god, yeah.
I think that was probably the most graphic thing they did.
Yeah,
I was like, wow.
Yeah, one of the most.
I was actually surprised they show that.
Yeah,
but ripping off a kid's ear. I wanted more of that. I wanted more of those like just gruesome scenes from her.
She gets pretty gruesome, like yeah. I will say, like,
no, yeah, but I mean, like, I wish they didn't like cut, when she's like in the middle of stabbing someone. I wish like instead of seeing a blood splatter, I want to see what happens.
Oh, he really wanted to. Yeah, you're like, screw this PG-13. Like, let's
rated R version.
Yeah, the rated R version of this would be very interesting. But yeah, I dug it.
I loved, like, her killings were so unique too. Like the way that she killed the neighbor with her own chemical spray.
That was brutal.
That was awful.
Why are we laughing? I'm sorry. That's terrible.
It's so terrible. Bad.
It's so right. Oh man. Like, yeah, no, these were some awful kills. Like, you got tearing off a kid's ear, running him into the road, and he got smashed. Like he got smashed. It was so awful to see. I wish I could stop laughing.
I love that they made the mom like this super positive,
Right.
like my little angel, and like he's just like the worst kid ever.
Right.
Or what did she say to him when he's like "F you"? Like
I think she asked him like if he had a jacket or something.
Yeah,
like, yeah, something simple.
She just blows it off like it's nothing.
I will say though, the only thing that was making me mad in this movie was Katie's like really unhealthy attachment to Megan.
Yeah,
it was really unhealthy. Like the fact that she didn't want to go to the camp without her and just really like clung to this thing. I was like, yo, like we got to get some separation anxiety going here. But it reminded me like the movie is really about our attachment to our screens, right? Our phones and our televisions, whatever they are, right? It's about our attachment to screens and how we're like so focused on that we don't really pay any attention to anything else. So like while it was pissing me off, I was like, I fully get it. Like, right? Because like I have a daughter, and like anytime I'm with her, she's like, Daddy, let me see your phone. And I'm like, look, kid, you're gonna have to cut back. I'm like, because all you know what I'm saying, I see it. I see you just staring into the abyss, into this phone, but you're not engaged with anybody else around you. And I'm like, that's unhealthy. Like it's unhealthy. And you see it and you go like, okay, yeah, that's enough. Like you gotta participate in what's going on around you, because it's just...
I think it's also like, there's so many underlying things there too, like just technology in general, how we rely so much on it to fix things.
Yeah.
And sometimes, our reliance on it actually just makes it worse. Mm-hmm. Because what it does socially to us, right?
Absolutely.
Is we're being social without being social, And then when we get in a room with people, and I've seen this happen with especially younger people too, or people my age even, where, they'll be perfectly cool over text, but like the moment like you get them in a room with you, they don't know how to communicate, they don't know how to talk, which is just sad.
Yeah.
And I think M3GAN is a perfect example of, what happens when we do rely way too much on the technology. We mistake these technological interactions for human interactions and think that's normal, right? And it's not. We're not actually being social the way that, we're meant to be.
100%. 100%. And that I think was shown in both Katie and God, I forgot her character's name, but both Katie and Allison Williams's character is like, she was using M3GAN, Gemma. She was using M3GAN as sort of a I guess you could call it like a replacement parent, and just so she can focus on it. And I think even a character later says like, it's like, if M3GAN's doing all of that, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you got to set some boundaries where it's like, yeah, this is a toy. It's supposed to be a toy. It's supposed to be like this little handy thing that you use to, assist, but it shouldn't be replacing you. And I think that's how we view technology so much, is like there's so much of it, there's so many uses for it, that we use that instead of the way we would normally communicate before we had this much technology.
And so I would say, I really like the use of the therapist in here, and how because the therapist actually gives a lot of insight into the issues with it, right? Like she's like, she's just a distraction, she's not a solution. Like it's just a distraction from the trauma, not an actual solution.
Right.
And I think the whole message with M3GAN's great too. Like just what they're trying to show.
Yeah. And that's
I really
something.
hope they make more like this, because this is
Yeah.
kind of like Black Mirror-esque,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in that way. And I think that it would be cool to like maybe next time they do like a Gen 2 Megan, someone tries to like recreate it or something. I don't know.
Right.
I
That's the
think that would
only
be
thing that I know will get lost in the sequels is like the reason why this one was so unique is because it was focused on that theme of technology and overuse of technology. I feel like that's something you can only go to once, and like the next sequels will just focus more on Megan as a murderer, Megan as a dancer. Like it'll lean way more into the campy, the fun, and those will be fun. Those will be interesting, but they won't have a theme or a concept as strong as as this one. Like even if you look at the original Child's Play movies, right? Like there's a theme there too of like because I think this came like the original Child's Play came out around the time when dolls and toys were all the rage, and so that concept of like being attached to a thing instead of your family or even the person who gave you the toy, like that was like a running thing through like the first I think two movies, and then it just became Chucky itself. Chucky was so much more of a personality that he overtook the theme of the movies, and it just became more about seeing him and seeing the murders that he would commit. So that's the only thing I fear with Megan is like if they do more, it's going to devolve from its original theme, and that while that would suck, I still would kind of want to see it just because of like I'm like Megan's that cool, bro. Like I don't care. Like give me more, no matter how you do it.
Yeah, no, I also agree. But or they could do a sequel with, how like I forget what they call it in the movie, but the Alexa that's running everything in the
Yeah,
house.
yeah,
Like if they did a sequel with like them taking over after Megan's gone,
right.
like maybe they create it like in her house, like a doll, like recreate Megan.
Mm. That would be interesting. Like, what if Megan like passed on her
Or her
uh
consciousness
consciousness, yeah,
is
to
still in
another
there, and then she takes over everything's like, I remember what you did to me.
right.
I think that'd be a cool sequel.
That'd be an interesting one. That would definitely
Now,
be fun.
I do want to say, Phoenix, I agree with you. I think the one thing that I also hate about this movie, although I know it was needed, was that how attached she was. And I really think that there are certain points where I'm watching this, I'm like, oh my gosh, like if this was my child, like I would smack them upside the head. Like, I think we are too. My mom, like, I love my mom, right?
Right,
But when
right.
I needed a good old fashioned ass whooping, she gave it to me.
Right.
And I'm better for it. And I think
Exactly.
that we're missing that in kids' movies. I know it's not, generally accepted, but I think sometimes kids need a good old fashioned ass whooping.
Sometimes, like,
I
oh,
mean, the way they behave, like, it's just like, especially with her headbutting her at one point, I was like, oh no. Like, if I ever did that, if I ever did that to my mom, like that wasn't gonna fly like that.
yeah,
That
and I'm
wasn't like,
like,
oh, you're just lashing out. That was not the conversation my mother would have with me. I get a spanking and go in the corner.
like, yeah, you can lash out in this corner. How about that? Oh
And be
my
lucky if all
god!
my toys weren't destroyed. Like,
Right, right.
yeah, my mom wasn't gonna play that.
And like, I get it, right? We don't. I don't think they actually explain the timeline of things of how long it's been between her parents dying and the events of Megan. So I'm like, if it's only been like I don't know 2 months or something like that, 2-3 months, then I'd be like, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I kind of understand. Like in the scene where she eventually snaps and she's like, look, you went through the worst thing anyone could ever go through. and you have to deal with it, right? So like I got it. Like even though the parent in me was like when she smacked her, the parent in me was like, no, look, like I was like, ooh, that was my natural instinct. But like I had to remember, I was like, yeah, she's dealing with a trauma. You know, you kind of have to step back and be like, I get it. You know what
I
I'm saying?
don't think, even if I was dealing with a trauma, my parents are not going to be like, "Oh, you're going through it." That's
It's
not
like
how
you're
they
going.
would respond to that.
It's like we'll get to that, but you just laid your hands on me, so it's over for you. But like after I'm done whooping your ass, we can have a conversation.
Oh
Like
yeah, my mom was super cool after, you know.
right,
Like give it 20, 30 minutes. It's the coolest mom you've ever met. It's not even the same mom who walked in the room 20, 30 minutes ago.
oh man, uh, oh man, I feel you. Like 100%. Like it's like totally cool now. Like you know, I'd have calmed down, I'd have had a drink. I'm good. Like you know what I'm saying? It's like but I lost it there a second ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, but you had that coming.
Well, for me, it was always the ass whooping, and then it was 20, 30 minutes by myself, and then the back porch conversation while she smoked her cigarettes.
like now
Why it's not okay to do that.
you understand why it's not okay, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Uh,
oh man, we going through some childhood trauma ourselves, right? we working through it.
yeah, I
We
mean,
using
guys,
movies.
if anyone else would like to report, you know, some things they went through growing up, please feel free to talk to me. My line is open at any
Oh,
time.
oh,
We can crack open a couple beers, share
right,
our
right.
traumas.
Share
It's
our
all good.
traumas. Relate them to movies that we love. Exactly.
Yeah, although there's some movies that if that's the trauma you relate to, I'd really question it.
Be like, oh, so you had a doll that murdered everybody you knew. That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I was only talking about the parenting part of
right.
that, but I mean, I'm here to listen, you
I
know.
mean, right. She ain't here, is she? Like,
Yeah, yeah. It's just like, did she you sure her consciousness didn't transfer or anything, you know? Like questioning my Alexa, interrogating it.
right, right. See, but that's what I mean. Like, I think this movie is so fun, and like, you can have so many like unique conversations about it. There's a
Yeah.
lot of laughs to be had, you know what I'm saying? And like it's a good time, right? It's a really good time. And that to me, I think is the best kind of movie. I always say, like, you know, to me, the better movies are the ones that I could see myself, no matter what time or day or period. If I'm like, oh, I need a good movie to laugh at or, you know, to watch or something, this is one of those I'm gonna pop on just because I had so much fun with it.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I agree. I think it's like a fun movie you can watch, you know, with your family.
exactly, exactly,
It's
and
not too gory where, you know, you
no,
can't watch it with anyone.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. So I loved it. All right, so let's go ahead and give our final ratings. Zach, what are you giving M3GAN?
So I am going to go with 3.5 stars. Like I said, I had a lot of fun. I don't think that it's anything like great as far as winning awards goes or acting, but it's a lot of fun. It's a fun movie to watch with your family. It's really good. And I think that's where I'm at with it.
I'm a little bit right there with you. I'm gonna go a little higher though. I'm gonna go 4 stars. Um, yeah, I just a fun movie that I want to rewatch constantly. To me, like 4 stars is exactly what that kind of movie is. So yeah, I had way too much fun with it. I can't wait to go back and see it again. Uh it was great. It was really great. And like I said, the writing was really strong for it. for what it was. It hit it out of the park. I know they're not going to be able to reach those levels if they continue with this, but I still want them to continue with it. That's how much I enjoyed this. So 4 stars for me. M3GAN was great. I can't recommend it enough. So 4 stars from me, 3.5 from Zach. What did you guys think of M3GAN? Let us know on Twitter and Instagram at FilmCoPod. We are going to move on now to what's good. What's good? What's good? What's good? Zach, what have you seen, sir? What would you recommend? What has been good for you?
Well, I haven't seen a lot. But between the things I have seen, the few I have seen, the one movie I would recommend out of all of them, it's not my favorite movie, but I think it's a decent movie to go see, which is Plane. If you're bored and you want to go see it, it is, it's enjoyable. It's good to watch. Nothing, crazy. I gave it 3.5 stars. Personally, I think, it's in theaters now. If you want to check it out, go check it out. If not, that's cool too. But between the other ones I've seen, I would recommend this one out of those. So that would be my what's good for this week. It's not a bad movie. It's a good movie. And yeah, check it out if you're interested.
I'm sorry, what movie was it?
Plane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Plane.
Okay. Yeah, I also saw Plane. Yeah, it was good. I would recommend a movie I saw a couple of weeks ago or a couple of days ago. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I don't know. I mean, you probably aren't going to hear about this movie much after this year, but I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It's worth seeing. It's got an incredible cast. So I recommend Women Talking with directed by Sarah Polley. It's got Jesse Buckley, Rooney Mara, Claire Foy, an incredible cast. Like I said, incredible cast, and just a story of these women in a Mennonite community who've been targeted and abused by the men in their community, and they finally decide that they have to leave. And it's just an impactful story of all of these different women's journey to coming to that decision, coming to grips with their faith, and they each have a different perspective on it. So I thought it was brilliantly told, brilliantly realized. One of my favorite movies of the year. So highly recommend checking out Women Talking. So that's Women Talking from me and Plane from Zach. Both great movies, both very different movies. But let us know what you guys think of those. And I believe we're going to get up out of here.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. All right, Zach, let everybody know where they can find you, sir.
You guys can find me on Twitter at Zach Sneath. That is ZACHSNEATH. And you guys can find me on Letterboxd at Z Sneaks.
All right, and you guys can find me on Twitter at IamHOReviews1. That's the number 1. And on Letterboxd under PA Clouden. And as always, guys, please follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at FilmCoPod. And we will see you guys next week. We are out of here. Peace.